in holographic breathing, as many people have pointed out, and this is something I worked with at the very beginning when it first came through, is you produce a lot more saliva. When you're doing holographic breathing, you produce a lot more saliva. And people ask this a lot at the beginning. So I've got all this water in my mouth. What do I do with it? And people get used to that and just used to letting that extra saliva flow into their system all of the time. So I thought, well, let's start working with the prana in the face, with the nitric oxide in the face, and start with the mouth, with this breathing motion of the mouth. And one of the reasons that you produce more water or more saliva is because holographic breathing is like a very subtle form of suckling. And the sucking motion will draw more saliva out for a start off. So there's a mechanical thing there that is pulling the saliva out. Suckling, archetypal, primordial movement, connected to all species that suckle, completely integrated through our whole body, not just for feeding, but the motion of it aligns our whole skeleton, gets our whole digestive system working, activates the brain. It's not just an arbitrary thing. So doing in holographic breathing this suckling type motion, even though it's very subtle, it's doing that, but there is the memory on one level or another. There is the memory of breastfeeding. So automatically with that memory, there's the physical thing, it's drawing out saliva, but also you are producing more saliva because you think you're being fed. So this is producing more saliva. Just that, you know, if you think of some really nice food, you start dribbling, you start producing automatically saliva. So if you're doing holographic breathing, that's why people say, I'm producing lots of saliva. Yeah, because you're subtly doing suckling. So there's this memory and this connection to this archetypal and primordial feeding motion that will produce more saliva. So there's the memory of that. There's also of kind of our mother and all of our mothers in past lives and species, etc. But also there's an intrinsic energy of that in ourselves of being fed through the mouth. And what I discovered very early on with holographic breathing, there's a spiritual aspect to that where it's no longer a person feeding you or part of your experience on the human level. But as with all things in holographic breathing, it connects to the divine realms. And there's this energy coming in through the mouth in holographic breathing of the Divine Mother and the Divine Breast and being fed. A lot of people say that holographic breathing feels nurturing, more nurturing than just breathing through the nose. There's this physical nurturing quality because it includes this feeding motion of the mouth that connects to all. It connects to all creation. It is the first thing we do, or nearly the first thing we do when we arrive, is breastfeed. And all mammals also do that. It's bred into us. And so there's the Divine Mother coming in, working through the mouth. And if you sit back in the cranium, there's this divine Father comes in through the top and into the mouth. And if you, rather than drinking that saliva straight away, if you just let that keep building in your mouth, it gets blessed. You know, spirit will come into water and potentize and bless that water. So you can do holographic breathing. You can build up the saliva in your mouth, and you can let it be blessed from the divine realms. And it goes deeper than that. Within the saliva is being produced, but it's incredibly rich in nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is just beneficial for the breath in so many ways. But one of the ways is that it starts your immune system in the face, because it will kill pathogens. Nitric oxide will kill viruses, it will kill bacteria, it will kill pathogens, and everything really, if allowed to be. So if you're keeping the saliva in the mouth and washing it around the mouth, it is killing bacteria there and viruses there. And also, another thing that happened when I started learning holographic breathing is that whenever I had a cold and flu, one of the last places it would leave is it would work from the back of my mouth and the back of my tongue forwards until I had this bright red tip on my tongue, and the very front of my lips were like inflamed, and that would be the last place it would come out. And that never happened before I did holographic breathing, but because of this suckling motion, I think it was activating this way of eliminating disease. And the tongue relates to the whole body, it relates to all of the organs, it relates to the brain. And if whilst building this fluid up in your mouth, you also wash the tongue around in it, because the tongue will eliminate toxins. I think it's also eliminating from within it bacteria, viruses, and so that all comes out into the saliva. The nitric oxide kills it. It gets blessed by the divine beings. And there's an important part of this immune system in the face. It will not just kill the viruses and the bacteria, it puts markers on them. So when my mouth was full of water on this dry fast, which is a rare thing, because on a dry fast normally this whole area, because I get a really dry tongue and dry mouth, it was the other way around for me. I was just drinking all of this fluid for 2 days. But when you drink it all down, the immune system puts markers on all of these dead viruses, bacteria, parasites, and when they flow down into the stomach, those markers activate the body's immune system. So the body's immune system gets a heads up on what to kill, what to go after. So it's this very general immune system in the face, and then that comes down and activates this much stronger secondary immune system in the body. So everything in the face is reflected in the body and reflected in the brain. And the breath is coming in through the face, the food is coming in through the face, the majority of viruses and bacteria you're going to take in are coming in through here first. You're either breathing them in or you're eating them in. The majority will come in that way. So it hits this initial immune system. This meditation with the mouth that we'll be doing tonight, it will give you a way of activating that immune system. And I know there are some people who do dry fast here because we've talked. It will give you a way of having a really wet mouth rather than a dry mouth when you're doing dry fast. And it felt wonderful because it felt like I was drawing the fluid up through the body and into the mouth, and it was all pooling here. And the tongue was working with it, which was releasing through the whole body, and toxins were coming out because the tongue detoxifies. You know, you get this fur, or I used to get it when I was young, this fur on your mouth in the morning if you've had a night's drinking, which are the toxins coming out of the tongue. So this is all fed into that fluid. It's all neutralized by being blessed. It's all killed by the nitric oxide. So this is like a vaccine being fed back. So you're circulating the fluids around the body and activating the immune system. So that is part of what we're going to do. I don't know how far we're going to get with all of this anymore, because I was going to majorly work with the sinuses, but I want to include that as part of the activation. So we'll work with the mouth for a bit. We could do a whole webinar just doing that, but because I've said we're also going to work with the sinuses, the nasal passageways, because in the mouth the nitric oxide is for the food and for nourishment. This is a physical level of the breath here. You come up into the nasal passageways, maxillary sinuses. This is like the heart and lungs. It's more the emotional side, and it's the breath, it's the air coming in, and the pathogens are airborne rather than foodborne coming in here. But it's the same process. The nasal passageways, the nose produces nitric oxide. The breath has to go through all of these hairs and all of these different things, so the air brushes against all of these things and into the mucus. The mucus kills the pathogens, kills the viruses, kills the bacteria, marks them, and then that is being either breathed down into the lungs or taken down into the digestive system, and the second immune system gets a heads up to that. So you really are starting your immune system in the face. With the sinuses, I don't know how many we're going to work. We've got two large sinuses here, the maxillary sinuses. Between the eyes, at the top of the nose, you've got the ethmoid, the tiny little sinuses in there. Across the forehead, you've got sinuses here. If you go back, you've got the nasal passageways back to about here. And then if you go back to about the top of the ears and go to the middle, you've got the front of the cranium there. And in the middle of a bone, which I call the fire phoenix, there's two sinuses. The middle of that is made of sinus. So they connect to the nasal passageways, and then that connects to these sinuses in the skull, in the middle of the skull. The sinuses in the ethmoid here, energetically, this connects to the nose. These sinuses here connect to the eardrums, and the sinuses in the skull, in the eardrums, these large sinuses here, they connect to the tiny sinuses in what's called the mastoid process behind the ears. So you get this communication front and back between the skull. So I have got the skull out, but I don't want to spend too much time describing that. We will do more of these and we will go into it in more detail. Also, I run webinars every Sunday. This is a lighter version of those more powerful and in-depth advanced webinars that we do every Sunday. And this Sunday we will be carrying on from that, in that this movement in the mouth and the movement of the tongue, you do that long enough and it becomes part of what's called the yellow energies, and there's this very particular motion of the tongue and how it relates to a circuit, which is the tongue, the esophagus, the stomach and the spleen, and it has energy points through the whole body. And we will be working this Sunday with that circuit, mainly with the fire circuit, which is the nasal passageways, this fire phoenix in the cranium, but we'll also be moving into the tongue circuit. So it all connects together. These webinars all get recorded, and this will go out on YouTube in a couple of days' time. So I'm talking to YouTube. Many more people watch the videos on YouTube than actually come to the webinars. So I'm also speaking to the people who are watching the videos on YouTube. And if you have any questions from this, you know, I haven't got anyone helping me, so I can't answer your questions here. But if you have any questions at all, you can write them in the comments on the videos, and I'll send out a newsletter in a few days with the video of this, and then you'll have a link to the video. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, there are just loads and loads of really good videos and guided meditations. That's all there. So, saying all of that, I will show you a bit of the anatomy in the skull. I'm going to get a new skull fairly soon. I've been kind of looking around because this one falls apart a lot. So we've got the tongue and the mouth here. The nose is more to do with the yellow energies and relates to this bone between the eyes called the ethmoid. So you've got sinuses between the eyes, in the nose. You've got sinuses out here. I'm not going to go into it too much depth. I just want to show you it in the skull. You see that bone there, the red bone? That is the fire phoenix. You've got the face here. The nasal passageways are here. So you've got the air coming through here, the nasal passageways, and then this whole center of this fire phoenix is sinuses. And then the ears are here, and then this mastoid process behind your ears there, that's also sinuses. The ethmoid between the eyes is meant to be part of the cranium. So you've got sinuses in the cranium here, here, here. You've got sinus, and here you've got sinuses in the face, these big maxillary sinus here, and you've got open passageways of the nose and the nasal passageways. So we're going to be working with all of that. Well, we may do, you know, we'll have to see how far we're going to get. I'm going to be teaching people holographic breathing to start off with. Then we're going to go into that. If you want to do this in depth, come to the advanced webinars. I don't have to teach holographic breathing in those. We just go into the topic. There's 2 hours where we can talk with it and do the meditation. So they're much more in depth. They are paid for, but they're not expensive. It's all very reasonable. And we'll be carrying on from here this Sunday. So I will describe holographic breathing. If you're new to holographic breathing and you only learn how to do holographic breathing, that will be more than enough. So don't overtax yourself. You can just learn holographic breathing, get used to holographic breathing, and then you can listen to the recordings and do the deeper part of it. So you know, do as much as you feel comfortable with for the new people. So the lips are relaxed and closed. The upper surface of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. So, and as much as feels comfortable, it can be ½ an inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, an inch of the tongue on the roof mouth, the whole tongue on the roof mouth, but it's the upper surface. And the tip of the tongue is close to or touching the front teeth. So that is the position of the tongue. It's the upper surface of the tongue, as much as feels comfortable, and the tip of the tongue close to or touching the front teeth. The lips are closed all of the time. The breath is through the nose. Along with that, keeping the lips closed, on the in-breath, the jaw gently opens. On the out-breath, the jaw gently closes. It's probably not good to do the breathing part just yet. We'll get into that in the guided meditation, but you can get used to having your lips closed and the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And then we will work, because it's a bit counterintuitive to learn the movement of the jaw. Now I'm going to demonstrate it so you'll be able to see that it's a very subtle motion of the jaw. It's a meditative breathwork system, very relaxed, and will take you into a deep meditation very quickly. So I'm just going to do it for 4 or 5 breaths so you can get an image of it. So very, very quickly, or at least for me, instantly, I go into some kind of ecstatic type quality feeling of the energies moving through my brain, transcending. So deeply, once you learn holographic breathing, it can be a deeply healing, evolutionary and spiritual breathwork system. It feels amazing, or at least to me, it feels amazing. And you could notice, you may not even have seen the movement of the mouth, subtle movement of the mouth. It just becomes part of the breath. I teach it, we start off teaching it as an exercise, so you're kind of doing it, but at a certain point it just synchronizes with all of the muscles of the breath and becomes part of the breath and becomes a whole breathing motion through the whole body. Now, I haven't talked about the movement of the hands and feet, but people who want to do that as well can do that as well, but there's just not time for me to teach everything. So I may mention in it, if you want to breathe with the hands and feet, do that, but obviously that's for people who know how to do that. That is on previous free webinar materials, so you can see those on my website and on YouTube to learn that. Okay, so for the new people, there's no particular speed. You're just breathing at a speed that feels comfortable. It's not connective breath. You're leaving a space between the breaths. It's just a normal breath. And when you're learning this for the first time, it's important to start off sitting up to get the basic instructions of holographic working, to get holographic breathing working. Once it's going and feels natural, then you can lie down. But it is so relaxing. People complain that I put them to sleep, or holographic breathing puts them to sleep. So if you go unconscious before you've learnt it, you kind of wasted your time. So it's good to be sitting if this is your first time. Then once it's going halfway through the meditation, then if you want, lie down. That is fine. Okay, so I was looking for the foot to describe the feet. I may talk in the hands and feet. There's an opening of the hands and feet on the in-breath, the cupping of them on the out-breath, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And they're straight, they're out flat, so breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. I may bring that in the meditation. All right, we are going to start. So closing your eyes. And if you know holographic breathing, dropping into the holographic breathing. If you don't know holographic breathing, just breathing naturally in a relaxed way. And sending a smile, sending some energy to the earth. And allow the earth to say hello back. Allowing yourself to receive from the earth. Notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies. And sending a smile, sending some energy to a higher self and the beneficial energies. The beneficial energies are any channels you wish to work with, divine beings, divine energies, divine teachers. As long as it's beneficial, the higher self and the beneficial divine energies. Notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies, allowing the higher self and the beneficial energies, beneficial divine energies to say hello back. Allow yourself to receive that. And asking the earth, the higher self, and the beneficial energies to be with you through the whole webinar as your guide, as your healing, as your resource. Lips relaxed and closed. The tongue relaxed and on the roof of the mouth. The upper surface of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. The tip of the tongue close to or touching the front teeth. Gently breathing through your nose. Keeping your lips closed, keeping the tongue on the roof of the mouth, gently opening and closing the jaw. It's just tiny motion, half a finger width, a few millimeters, just opening and closing the jaw. Can feel a bit like chewing. And just get the experience that you can move the jaw and you don't have to open the lips to do it, that you can happily move the jaw up and down and the lips can stay closed. Now slowing down that motion of the jaw, so nice, slow, small movements of the jaw. And then when you feel ready, as the jaw is relaxing open, allow the breath to come in through your nose. As the jaw is relaxing closed, allow the breath to come out through your nose. The jaw relaxes open, it draws the breath in through your nose. The jaw relaxes closed, the breath comes out through the nose. It starts to feel like a little pump. We're going to change it soon, but we just need to get used to this more physical action. As the jaw is open, it draws the breath in through the nose. As the jaw is closing, it exhales the breath through the nose. The lips stay closed all of the time. The tongue stays on the roof of the mouth all of the time. Relax the back of the neck. Relax the back of the head. As the jaw relaxes open, this draws the breath in through the nose. As the jaw relaxes closed, the breath comes out through the nose, relaxing your neck, relaxing your head. Now we're going to change the emphasis. We're going to bring it into a more meditative arena. Notice the difference in energy when we do this. Rather than having the awareness in the jaw and mouth, bring the awareness to the nose. And as the breath is coming in through the nose, the jaw relaxes open. As the breath comes out through the nose, the jaw relaxes closed. So we've swapped it round. Before the emphasis was on the jaw, now the emphasis is on the breath. As you breathe in, the jaw relaxes open. As you breathe out, the jaw relaxes closed. Notice how everything becomes softer, more energetic, more meditative. You've moved up a level of consciousness. You've moved from the more physical aspect of the jaw to the more energetic energies of the sinuses and nasal passageways. Breathing in, the jaw relaxes open. Breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed, and it just becomes part of the breath. You no longer need to have your awareness on the jaw. It just moves. The muscles of the breath move the jaw. It becomes automatic. And in a very subtle way, this primordial suckling type motion gets integrated into the breath, becomes part of the breath. Notice how it's like a very subtle form of suckling. As the lungs are opening, the jaw follows, the jaw opens. As the lungs and chest are closing, the jaw closes. As your abdomen opens, the jaw relaxes open. As your abdomen closes, the jaw relaxes closed. Feeling the whole torso opening on the in-breath, the jaw is opening. The whole torso closes on the out-breath, the jaw closes. And you're still breathing through the nose, through the sinuses. It's reaching up between the eyes and into the eyes. And in a very subtle way, the whole face has started to breathe. And the whole cranium has started to breathe. The neck and the spine has started to breathe. This primordial, subtle, suckling motion, integrated into everything we know, becomes integrated into the breath. It becomes part of the breath. It starts interacting through your whole body. Every single cell in your body connects to this very subtle suckling motion. Now, not emphasizing the mouth, being aware of the whole face and the nose and the eyes, but it all integrates together. Every cell is moving with the breath. Every vertebrae is moving with the breath. Every brain cell is being activated. Your whole body, every cell is being activated. When you are first born and you're breastfeeding, there's just stem cells being produced all of the time. So it automatically starts healing. It automatically starts producing stem cells. It starts making the possibility of healing your brain, your organs. At that stage, everything is growing. You can grow brain cells. You can heal your body. You are close to the original matrix. Through that suckling type motion, you can connect to the original matrix. Suckling motion. It's connected to the original matrix where everything is balanced. And breathe. Notice your arms and legs breathing, your hands and feet breathing, your spine, everything breathing. Notice in your mouth you are producing more saliva. And you can let that gather under your tongue. There's plenty of room and a reservoir. You can let the tongue be on the roof of the mouth, and you can let that saliva start building under your tongue. And also notice there's a very subtle motion, subtle suckling type motion of the tongue, not doing the suckling motion, just notice it's there. You're not moving the jaw with the muscles, the jaw and the tongue is being moved by the diaphragm. Notice the abdomen expands, the diaphragm drops, this pulls down the jaw, this pulls down the tongue. And because the tongue is suctioned to the roof of the mouth and the lips are suction closed, it creates this suckling type motion in the mouth. It draws out the saliva. It draws out the fluids in the mouth. And there's plenty of room. If you let the tongue be on the roof mouth, there's plenty of room. There's a whole reservoir under the tongue to let those fluids build. Rather than swallowing them, allow them to stay in your mouth. If you're new, it's fine to lie down by this point if you wish to lie down. And then you can still breathe, it's fine, but let the tongue whoosh around in those fluids. Let the tongue kind of massage itself in those fluids so you get all of the toxins off the surface of the tongue. You start massaging the tongue in this fluid that is full of nitric oxide. And it absorbs the toxins out of the tongue. It absorbs the parasites, the viruses, the bacteria out of the tongue, and the nitric oxide starts killing all of these bugs. Your immune system, the mouth is the very base of the immune system. You can move the tongue around, you can wash the tongue in this fluid, and notice it starts stabilizing the toxins, starts killing the viruses, killing the bugs, and more fluid builds up in your mouth, and you massage your tongue in your mouth. Let the fluids whoosh around your teeth and around your gums to heal bacteria in the gums. And also there is the memory of suckling as a child, but there's the Divine Mother. Notice there's a spiritual energy, spiritual breast, spiritual energy, Divine Mother coming down. I feel it from the front, up and to the front, coming down into the mouth. And you can let the Divine Mother bless this elixir that's growing in your mouth. And as you let the Divine Mother bless it, notice you start producing more saliva. If you sit back in your cranium, you also get the Divine Father dropping down either through the top of the eyes or through the top of the head, down into the mouth, into the tongue, into these fluids. So they bless this fluid. When you've whooshed the tongue around enough, when you've built up enough fluid, you can drink that down into your stomach. And the process starts again. Gently breathing with the holographic breathing. Notice if you come into the jaw for a while, this will connect you with your bones. Very physical. Notice you come into the jaw, and the back of the jaw, it will connect you to the back of the head, the back of the body, in this deep, strong, physical, grounded bone energy. Then if you move into the tongue will connect you to the muscles. It will connect you to the brain. It will connect you to the organs. It will connect you to the immune system. And with this archetypal, primordial, be it very subtle, breathing motion integrated into your breath, you start producing this elixir in your mouth. Starts welling up from under your tongue, filling your mouth. And it starts massaging the tongue, healing the tongue. And the tongue relates to every cell, it relates to every organ, relates to the brain. So all of the stresses of the body, all of the imbalances of the body, all of the toxins of the body, all of the viruses of the body, the pathogens, the parasites, they can come out of the tongue, maybe some as viruses and bacteria, but definitely energetically these can all be released into this elixir. And the nitric oxide will kill the viruses, the bacteria, any parasites. The Divine Mother, Father, divine energies, higher self will bless this fluid. Will bless your mouth, will bless your tongue. Relax the back of your neck. You might feel this spreading through all of the soft muscles through your body, through the muscles of the digestion as well. And you're producing copious amounts of elixir in your mouth. It's being drawn into your mouth, some being seemingly produced spiritually, and some being produced by your body. Allow that visualization or reality of the fluids coming in energetically from the Divine Mother, like divine milk. From this spiritual heavenly mother, filling your mouth. Bathe your tongue. You can bathe your whole mouth. You can bathe the gums, your teeth. When you feel ready, you swallow it down. Let that go down on its healing journey down to your stomach and digestion. Relax the back of the neck. Relax the back of your head. Rising to the roof of the mouth. I'm going to change the energy rising up through the roof of the mouth into the nasal passageways. And you're now in the breath. The energy will change. Nasal passageways, you're back from the nose, you're in the nasal passageways. These relate to the heart and the fire circuit. You may feel this start activating your heart. You may feel it start activating your genitalia. These are lined with fine filaments, with hairs, all activating nitric oxide. And if you move up and back to the top of the nasal passageways at the back, you move up to this fire phoenix bone in the cranium, up and back, and two big sinuses. And as you breathe in, the air will circle in those sinuses. Air will come into the sinuses and air will come out. It will swirl around in those sinuses, and these are packed with nitric oxide. And the air that stays in there, any viruses, any bacteria, will be killed. There's 20 times as much nitric oxide in the sinuses than in the airways. So a certain amount of air will circle into these sinuses on the in-breath. And then it will stay there for a while, and the nitric oxide will kill all of the viruses, all of the bacteria. And then when you breathe that out, and that, or on the in-breath again, as it comes in and swirls around, that will be drawn down into your lungs. And all of those viruses, all of those bacteria will be dead, but they will activate your body's immune system. Energetically breathing with the nasal passageways, energetically breathing these sinuses in the fire phoenix, the lungs of the fire phoenix. Notice we've moved from the energy of the mouth to the energy of the fire circuit. And you can also let this be blessed by the heavenly fire energies. Really feeling, sit in the back of your head, and you can feel your fire phoenix breathing. You can feel your nasal passageways breathing. You can breathe fire from the fire phoenix down your nasal passageways. It's got wings that come out to the sides of your cranium, to the temples, so you can fly with your fire sphinx or fire dragon sphinx. And coming forwards from the nasal passageways into the nose. Very slowly you'll feel the energies change. It'll become more airy as you move forwards from the nasal passageways into your nose. Notice it's not molten anymore, it's cooler, it's air. Feeling the quality of the air in your nasal passageway. Notice the mouth is still breathing, but it's below you. You've moved into a different energy. In the same way as the nasal passageways related up and back to the fire sphinx, the nose relates up and back to the ethmoid that's between the eyes. You get this bright white energy in the sinuses of the ethmoid between the eyes. The nose connects to the ethmoid. The nose is the yellow energies for the face. The ethmoid is the yellow energies for the cranium. They breathe together. Notice you can breathe with these tiny sinuses and this whole different level of prana. You can feel them connecting to the body. You can feel them being blessed by the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, the spiritual teachers, the divine yellow energies. Breathe with the nose and breathe with the between the eyes in the ethmoid. You get right back to the back of the ethmoid. Bright light, and they breathe. The air will come in and circulate in them on the in-breath. So air will come in, air will come out. And then in the out-breath, it just stays still. The air stays in there, and all of the nitric oxide will kill all of the pathogens, all of the viruses, all of the bacteria. And then the next time you breathe in, that dead bacteria and viruses will be whooshed down into the lungs, into the body's immune system. They'll be marked. The body will pick them up and it will know what to fight. So there's the physical immune system, there's the divine immune system. So I don't want to go too fast for people, but I'm getting the feeling that I would like to go through all of these sinuses so you get a picture. So just allowing yourself to become used to that, but we are going to move on. Notice you can still feel the jaw and the energies of the jaw. You can feel the tongue. It's all on a more, notice how the tongue and the jaw are much more physical, and this archetypal suckling, primordial suckling motions happening on a very physical level below where you are in the nose and the ethmoid, like the basement. Being aware of the nose and moving out to the maxillary sinuses, two large sinuses either side of the nasal passageways. They're massive. They're much bigger than the nasal passageways. They're the lungs for the face. Notice this activates your lungs, these big maxillary sinuses, breathing in, breathing out. This is the lung circuit. Notice it becomes much whiter, connects to your lungs, connects to the breath, and your breath becomes sideways. opening out to the sides on the in-breath, closing as you breathe with these large maxillary sinuses. Your whole face is starting to breathe. Your cranium is starting to breathe. The sides of the cranium opening on the in-breath. Sides of the cranium closing on the out-breath, and all the cranial sea in the brain is breathing. The brain 90% water. It's not solid. It's like the brain cells are like seaweed in a sea of cranial fluid, and there's 9 times as much fluid as there are cells. It's 90% fluid. It's seaweed floating in this cranial sea, and with this breathing of the maxillary sinuses, breathing of the sides, breathing open, breathing out, close to the sides, opening out to the side, closing immediately. This will work through your lungs. This will work through your whole body. And it also relates into the sinuses around the mastoid process and under the mastoid process. This is the bone behind the ears. There's lots of little sinuses there full of air that connect down to the eustachian tube and down into the throat. They all breathe. Notice how these sinuses in the eye, in the sides of the nasal passageways, connect to the sides of the head and the underside and bottom of the mastoid process at the back of the ears, that they breathe. This is the lung circuit. This is the breath. This is the opening and closing sideways through your body. So we're moving quickly, so being used to this, but we will move on. Notice how everything is starting to breathe, how you're getting used to all of the different levels of prana, the physical levels, the spiritual levels, the energetic levels, how the whole face breathes, and there's all these breathing chambers in the cranium, and the cranial fluid breathes, and the whole skull breathes. Everything breathes. You connect to this primordial suckling with the breath, and everything breathes. The jaw and the tongue connected up physically to the physical motion of the breath, and the sinuses and air passageways connect up different energy systems. And coming out to the very outside of the maxillary sinuses and out into the cheekbones. This is the kidney circuit, blue energy kidney circuit. You may feel your kidneys warming up. This will relate a bit to the outside, more out and back from the mastoid process, but also it will relate directly into the inner ear and the eardrums. The eardrums are like the kidney energy for the ears. You get this blue kidney energy. This also relates to the saliva glands at the back underside of the tongue. The kidney energies for the tongue are the lower underside of the tongue at the back, where the saliva glands are. The saliva glands are like the kidneys. They bring water out of the body. The kidneys bring water out of the body. The saliva glands bring water out of the body. It's the kidneys for the tongue. But it's the cheekbones, the eardrums, back from the ears. And it's also these sinuses in the forehead, above the eyes, rising up into the forehead. These are the blue energies. These are the kidney energies. These are the kidney energy sinuses. They have their own level of prana. They have their own level of energy. They relate to the kidney circuit. They all circle. The breath flows into these, gets energized by this quality of energy. The nitric oxide in these kill the pathogens, kill the viruses, kill the bacteria. They circle and get killed. Then on the next in-breath, the air swirls around it, and a lot of those dead bacteria and viruses flow down into the lungs. The immune system picks that up, gets a heads up, starts killing those viruses, those bacteria. You may notice this relating to your kidneys, your adrenals, your bladder, the urethra, your vagina and penis. This is the kidney circuit. This is what we work with in the advanced webinars. Kidney circuit. So we're moving very quickly, so just getting a taste of that, and we will move on in a minute or two. And then from the cheekbones and the sides of the eyes, we move into the eyes. The eyes relate to the higher energies and to the brain circuit. You may feel a flashing in your eyes as they connect to your brain. The optic nerve relates straight back into each side of the thalamus and then into the back of your brain where you process vision. They relate directly to your thalamus, center of your brain. It relates to the top of your head, crown chakra, top of your spine, that where the back of where the spine is joining to the back of the cranium. This is the higher energies at the top of the head and the eyes, and you move into this much higher circuit. The eyes aren't filled with air, but they're filled with fluid, clear fluid. It breathes. And the eyes, they don't have capillaries in the front. The eyes breathe directly from the air. The air, because you can't have capillaries in the eyes, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see in the front of your eyes. So the air breathes directly through the skin of the eyes. It breathes in oxygen and they breathe out carbon dioxide. And when the eyes are closed, it takes the carbon dioxide, takes the oxygen from the capillaries in the eyelids. And when the eyes are open, it takes the oxygen directly from the air. Notice you've moved up a level of energy. You're connected to the brain. And the cranial fluid, a higher level of cranial fluid. Notice you're connected directly to the spiritual energies. You've got all of these levels of prana in your face, in your cranium, through your whole body, and right at the bottom you can feel your jaw and your tongue And this primordial breathing integration with a subtle form of suckling, the physical suckling. At the top you've got the eyes and a direct connection to God. And every level of prana, every level of existence, every set of sinuses, every part of us also has its own channel, has its own deities, has its own connection to the divine and to the earth. They are all levels of a cosmic experience, and you can feel the whole face breathing, you can feel all of the sinuses breathing, you can feel the mouth breathing, you can feel your cranium breathing, your brain, your neck, your organs. You can feel your immune system being activated. You can feel these dead viruses and bacteria flowing down into your body, activating your immune system. You can feel these divine energies pouring through your body, healing you through and through. Every cell, every organ, every part of you, connecting to the earth and connecting to the divine in its own way, with its own channel. Everything is balanced. Everything is part of the whole. We are part of the whole. We are a reflection of all existence everywhere. And notice as the whole face and the whole cranium breathes, the neck breathes, the whole body breathes, the whole spine breathes. Notice your spine is melting. Notice your arms and legs are breathing. Your organs are being activated. Your digestion is being activated. You are aligning with God, with the divine, with the beyond. You are the divine. You are the beyond. You are the earth. You are that you've always been searching for. You are God. You are the earth. You are the divine. No need to go anywhere. No need to search outside of yourself. And as you merge and channel and are blessed by the beyond, everything is healed. Allow yourself to be blessed. Allow yourself to be healed. In that knowing, in that deep understanding, in that place of nothingness and nowhere to go, you are healed. Everything is whole. Everything is divine. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Just being in that place. Gently breathing. So we're going to come back in about a minute. Gently breathing. And sending a thank you to the earth. Sending a thank you to the higher self. And thanking yourself. And letting the energies go off for love and healing to the earth. Love and healing to the higher self, the divine energies, the divine teachers and beings. Letting the energies go off for love and healing. Allowing yourself to be loved and healed. Letting the energies go out to all sentient beings for love and healing. And you are a sentient being, allowing yourself to be loved and healed. Letting the energies go through your brain. Just a bit of release through your brain. Let whatever needs to balance, balance. You may feel a connection through your brain to the higher self that may be balancing. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourself to come back. This video will come out in a couple of days as a YouTube video. I want to promote my YouTube channel, so if you have any questions, because you can't really ask me the questions here, but when I send that video, if you've got any questions, just write them in the comments there. That helps my YouTube channel, and also I can answer your questions there. And also for these free webinars, if you feel to contribute anything back, because they're not small, they are potent. I know the advanced webinars are very potent, but these are strong, in-depth meditations that we do. If you want to give something back for that, I will put my PayPal account in the description on the video, and any amount, you know, a couple of quid, whatever. If you want to give something back for these free webinars, you can.